Hello and welcome to CBC Arts Exhibitionists, the TV show that travels from Cathedral Grove to Flowers Cove in order to introduce you to the coolest people in the world, artists. I'm your host, Amanda Paris. Today you'll see a giant pierogi that helped to save a small town, the sweet and friendly artist behind some of the scariest art you've ever seen, and we'll visit with the painter, sculptor, and all-around Renaissance man, Jordan Bennett. But first, we're hanging out with two photographers who believe that every butt has a story to tell. I hope you're ready for it all, because this is CBC Arts Exhibitionists. Almost everyone has a part of their body that makes them feel vulnerable. For these two photographers, it was their butts. So they decided to do something about it. They've embarked on a project to take 1,001 pictures of women's butts. But as important as the pictures are the stories they've learned about the women they're photographing. Take a look.
The Million Fest project is a photography project where we're trying to collect 1,001 bums, female bums. We try to meet women that we don't know and have those encounters, and at some point we take pictures of their butts. And then when we have all the pictures next to each other, you're like seeing each and every, but at the same time, you see like the whole group of pictures, and it's like, okay, so that's like woman, you know, or I don't know.
Là, en ce moment, tu sens que, mettons, pour, je sais pas, Million Fest, c'est comme un geste de t'es avec toi-même?
Ça s'inscrit vraiment dans un processus d'émancipation, d'ouverture, de liberté. Le fait de devenir maman, d'avoir des filles aussi, ça contribue à ça. Et je me rends compte que même les enfants, on les objectifie, on les sexualise.
Ouais. We never like do any kind of casting or any kind of scouting or anything. So it's always like an encounter that we don't know what's going to happen.
Il m'a dit, tu sais, j'aurais aimé que les choses se passent de façon linéaire entre nous deux, tu sais, qu'on se sépare physiquement, puis là, après, on commence à rencontrer quelqu'un d'autre. Puis il m'a dit, j'ai rencontré quelqu'un. Quand il m'a dit ça, j'ai rencontré quelqu'un, ça faisait comme, oh, là, la béquille, elle va s'en aller. Puis tout le beau, tout l'amour qu'il m'a donné, là, il va le donner à une autre.
Ouais, c'est fou, hein? Ouais.
J'ai jamais vécu un sentiment de solitude extrême.
D'abord.
I'm pretty sure a lot of artists out there are not like taking all this time. Like if we do like a Million Fest tour,
we can only shoot like two models a day. Like it's
even that is almost too much sometimes. Tu sais les grosses ombres de même? Ouais, mais Amy, check comment c'est pas beau.
Ah, oui, non.
We want to be like present and we want to know the person and take our time.
Attends, je vais y aller. Vous allez voir de quoi ça a l'air.
On regarde, mais peut-être... Ouais, comme ça.
Comment, Amy, ça devrait être la position?
The project is not the picture in the end. It's actually meeting the women. That's the project.
And it's all about our energy. Like sometimes we had to cancel a shoot. Like we were in France and we were so tired, so we just called the woman and say, we are so sorry, but we would not be as available as we want to share this moment with you.
It's always like in an environment that the woman chose. And we ask the model usually like, do you want to be at your place? Do you want to be outdoor? Do you like water? Do you associate like your femininity with something special? And we're gonna go towards what she needs, because each picture is made of 3 artists, which is the both of us and the model. And she's part of the whole idea, really. We started the project in a very small way on Facebook, and then in 2015 we decided to do a fundraising for the project so we could go and meet all the women around the world that wanted to be part of the project. And we used like Greek statues to illustrate. No head, like it's really like it's obviously a statue, and that was the picture that was flagged by Facebook. The Facebook page was literally deleted. And then for some reason, I think like we ended up having an article in like BuzzFeed or something like that, and then it became very big on Instagram. And obviously what happened, Instagram kept sending us like flags, like you have to delete this picture, and deleting automatically so many pictures. And then the Instagram was shut down with like 23,000 followers. And for us, it's hard because it's not about the followers, it's about the community. And it's always the kind of bum portraits that we call, like when we see like a bum from pretty close that are shut down because they see it as pornography or violent content, which is crazy. Because the female body is so dangerous, as we know.
Ça serait beau que ça suive la courbe, que ce soit droit.
OK.
Je regarde.
Katie Kotler is both a musician and an artist, and she's our exhibitionist in residence this week. Throughout our episode, you'll see the mesmerizing world she creates when she brings her two talents together. Here's Katie to tell you more.
Hi, my name is Katie Kotler, also known as Chanteclair, and I'll be your artist in residence in this episode of the CBC's Exhibitionists. I'm a multidisciplinary artist based in Toronto. My practice explores how the physicality of animation can be translated into installation, print, and music. In this episode, you'll see works from my animations Hammock Life, Carnelian, and Successions. You'll also hear music from my albums Dance Madness, Love Themes, and the upcoming Natural Beauty. Hope you enjoy.
Coming up, find out how a giant sculpture of a pierogi helped save one small Albertan town. This summer, our CBC Arts correspondent Tamara Canute went on a wild road trip to find the biggest sculptures in the smallest towns. In this edition, she introduces us to the giant pierogi in Glendon, Alberta. Be warned, this segment may make you hungry for pierogis after you watch it.
Pierogi, come see me. Glendon's pierogi, all a dumpling should be.
For centuries, humans have obsessed over massive objects and the legacy they leave behind. The Great Wall of China, the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Eiffel Tower and the Roman Colosseum. Not to be forgotten, the Glendon pierogi.
What comes to mind when you hear the pierogi capital of the world? Well, welcome to Glendon, Alberta, home of the world's largest pierogi. Now, I know I wondered the same thing, just why would anyone want to claim that? And just what the heck is a pierogi anyway?
The pierogi, for those who don't know, it's a kind of mini sandwich.
And it makes a great snack or a meal if you eat enough of them.
But this is really something you've got to see for yourself.
Is it worth a statue? People in Glendon, Alberta think so, and they've got the biggest pierogi you've ever seen.
We're heading to meet with Johnny Danenko. He was the former mayor of Glendon for 40 years. He was the one who spearheaded the creation of the world's largest pierogi.
Oh, that's a picture of me and my wife there.
No, it's not.
Yeah?
It is.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I
So
forget
somebody
what.
submitted this?
Yeah, I made that and gave it to me.
Oh, I love that. So why do you think the pierogi is important to Glendon?
Because it draws tourists. You see what was happening to our town? It was dying, you know? Mm-hmm. So we had to come up with something out of the extraordinary to have people come in. After a curling game, we were talking about what we could get, and then Somebody said that we were eating pierogies at the time too.
Of course, I mean, naturally.
And next morning it's in the Edmonton Journal, Glendon to make big pierogi. Holy mackerel, so what are we going to do then?
Now you have to do it.
Johnny's efforts went as far as submitting the pierogi to be on the back of the toonie when the federal government had just eliminated the $2 bill.
Point, there's no culture on the back of any coins. And a pierogi is culture.
Pierogi was designed just a pierogi, but it looked like a cow pie. So we had to stick a fork in.
It may seem like a joke, but this pierogi is the reason Glendon is alive today. It only seemed right to learn how to make the very food that saved the town.
Ah, official baba.
Official baba.
So you take a ball, and then you put it on your dough, fold it over, stretch it just slightly, put your thumbs down, take your cup, go over, and come back, and you're taking the air in.
Look how cute that is.
Just fold it right over.
Okay. Was that good? Did I do that?
Yeah, you did that right.
All right.
Bring your cup on.
Look at that.
Perfect.
You're now an official pierogi maker.
Oh, whoa.
Now you load your fork.
Heck yeah.
Some sour cream.
The Glendon
And
pierogi.
it's Skyboja. We could put a cabbage roll beside it too.
2020, the Glendon cabbage roll.
Yeah.
We were welcomed into Glendon with open arms and a bowl of pierogies. It's clear here that the people here genuinely care about the community and its well-being. And the pierogi was made for that purpose. It was to bring people in and keep them coming. So let's just hope it can keep doing that for years to come. Where should we go next? Follow us on Big Things, Small Towns.
Glendon's pierogi.
Well, I definitely want a pierogi right now. Check out our website for more of Tamara's adventures on Big Things, Small Towns. Have you ever glanced at a stranger on the bus and wondered what they were thinking? That sweet grandmother crocheting in the corner might be plotting a government takeover. That cute little kid holding his dad's hand might be thinking about breaking all of his sister's toys. And that friendly-looking woman drawing in her sketchbook, she might just be making some of the scariest horror manga comics you've ever seen. Take a look.
I think if I were to just walk down the street, I don't think anyone would realize what my career is. And I think that's the beauty of being an illustrator. I honestly don't think anyone could really tell because they come from such a diverse walk of life. Same with a lot of other creative industries. I was born in Hong Kong. And was raised between Kitchener and Mississauga. I have zero memory of Hong Kong. I immigrated here when I was 18 months old, but my parents were refugees there, so I was born as a refugee. I've always loved to draw, so when I was in high school, I knew that's what I wanted to do, was get into something where I can draw for a living. So most of my ideas are actually just from living my everyday life, from my earliest memory up until today. Basically just problem solving with images, and I use the tools of everyday life in order to help me problem solve those images. I do have two different illustration styles. The stuff that I do for clients are much more warm. They're very line heavy. My other illustration style, which is my horror style, is there is no color. It's only black and white. It is much more cold, but it's still very narrative driven. This is the very first horror manga zine that I created. This was done in 2014. And that began the journey of the rest of these. I'm a huge horror buff. I love horror just because I love exploring what makes you feel really uncomfortable. I think fear is that emotion that makes us all super uncomfortable. It's pure instinct when we react to fear. And so I started doing horror images. And I do black and white because I love leaving all the gross detail up to the imagination. It is a little disturbing. It is very bloody, but it's something I really enjoy to do. As an independent artist, the way I build a community around my work is that I try to put myself out there on social media. I do try to be as honest as possible whenever I post content, and I do believe that people who follow my work can relate to that, and I do think that's a huge reason why they choose to follow me or support my work. So the way I navigate this industry as a queer woman of color is to constantly make work and put myself out there so that other women who look like me, who can identify with my story, can find that part in themselves that they relate with, and they can also think, you know, I could do this too.
Coming up, we head to the East Coast to have celebrated artist Jordan Bennett walk us through some of his most significant works. Mi'kmaq artist Jordan Bennett is one of Canada's most prolific creators working today. I first saw his work gracing the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and then again at the Rooms in St. John's. He's a painter, a sculptor, and a video artist, and he's taking a moment to reflect back on some of his most significant pieces. Take a look.
My name is Jordan Bennett. I'm a visual artist. I work in various mediums, everything from painting to installation to sound to video work. Artworks can definitely mark a point in time in an artist's career, but more importantly to me is the marking of time and a journey through relationship, through people and community and people that you're inspired by and you love.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
Just spent the day with Aiden. Got to spend some time at the gallery and look around at some work, talking about all the people that paved the way.
You can't really separate Indigenous arts from language, from community, from history, because everything is so tightly interwoven. We share and we pass information, and we do it in such like a casually organic way. You don't go out of your way, you're doing it like at the table.
I was talking about that artwork that I made, the turntable piece.
I've recorded myself trying to learn words in Mi'kmaq, and I've played that back along with the sound of the audio of the actual wooden ring of the tree. It was really cool to see other people repeating those words back. And I think for me, that was the moment when I was like, oh, this can be a really great way to give people an entry point into Mi'kmaq worldview.
And then to listen years later and realize it was very wrong, but I still tried.
Right.
And I think that's important.
It's very important. You learn from your mistakes, so just keep trying. You'll get it right.
The work Damio Deliowen, which translates in Mi'kmaq roughly to Where Do You Belong, was a play on the Newfoundland and Labrador coat of arms. The representation doesn't resemble the traditional people of my territory at all. So I wanted to replace those fanciful depictions with actual Indigenous people of the territory, which is myself and Jerry Evans.
It allowed me to, when I first did it, to bring us together in British Columbia to shoot the images for that piece. For that piece, then to travel around the world and come back home. I mean, it's crazy. That's for me, that's the next thing, is to create work that really dives into the meaning of where I'm from.
Dep Geek is a large installation, and it's a hanging piece based on Mi'kmaq visual culture as depicted through porcupine quill design, drawings in stone, and other means of expression.
Have you taken that traditional practice and just lit a fuse to it, and it's just, well, it's exploded?
When I received the call from Van Houtte regarding the Master Fund, I was very honored. It'll provide me the opportunity to really dive into some research and creation that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And what I want to do is to bring mentors and community with me to see these community belongings where they live now.
When it comes down to it, we're all from the same place, not just Mi'kma'ki, but like the Hamkuk. And it's really important, I thought, for me to talk about people, talk about how it's community that build these relationships and set us on our path. And it's not specifically something you create, it's relationships that you make.
Yeah. God.
And now I call you uncle.
Yeah. Nephew.
Yeah.
Family.
Family.
Man.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you too.
Say hi to Amy.
Will do.
Peace. The motor's up.
If you want to see more of Jordan Bennett, you can check out our feed where we've done multiple stories on his work over the years. We're now midway through our season, and I want to give you the opportunity to participate in our show. If you have an artist that you think should be on CBC Arts Exhibitionist, send me a message on social media. Our handle is @CBC Arts. Tune in next week when we'll be doing another deep dive into the exciting work of Canadian artists. Peace.